When 9-year-old Lisa Marie Presley walked through the gates of Graceland on August 15, 1977, she had no idea she was about to spend the last day of her father's life with him. Elvis stood at the top of the stairs waiting for her, and something in his eyes, a sadness, a knowing, a desperate kind of love, made him pull her into a hug that lasted just a little too long. He held her like he was trying to memorize the feeling, like he knew, and maybe, deep down, he did. Because in less than 24 hours, the king of rock and roll would be gone, and this little girl would carry the weight of their last day together for the rest of her life. But neither of them knew yet that time was running out. It was a typical Memphis August afternoon, thick with humidity, the kind of heat that made the air feel like a wet blanket. The cicadas sang their endless summer song in the trees surrounding Graceland, and the sun beat down on the white columns of the mansion that had become both a palace and a prison for Elvis Presley. Inside, the air conditioning hummed, keeping the house cool, but never quite managing to chase away the heaviness that seemed to live in every room. Elvis was 42, but looked older. The medications had taken their toll. Puffy face, slow movements, clouded mind. His weight had ballooned. His jumpsuits no longer fit. The man who once commanded stages now struggled to climb his own stairs. But when Lisa Marie arrived, his Yisa, something in Elvis lit up. For a few hours, he could just be Daddy. Lisa Marie had been living in Los Angeles with her mother, Priscilla, since the divorce in 1973. Now, at 9, she navigated 2 separate lives, California with her mom and these Memphis visits with her father, who lived in a different universe where staff treated him like royalty, but he often seemed inexplicably sad. She didn't know Elvis was dying. She didn't know about the medications, the failing heart, the borrowed time. All she knew was that Daddy seemed tired, really tired. But he was smiling as he hugged her, and his voice was warm when he said, "There's my little girl. I missed you so much, Yisa." "I missed you too, Daddy," Lisa Marie said, her small arms wrapped around his waist. She could feel how soft he'd become, how different he felt from the strong, vibrant father she remembered from when she was younger. But he was still Daddy, still the man who could make her laugh, who sang to her, who let her stay up past her bedtime and eat ice cream for breakfast when she visited. Elvis pulled back and looked at her with an intensity that made her a little uncomfortable. He cupped her face in his hands, hands that trembled slightly, and just stared at her for a long moment. "You're getting so big," he said quietly. "So beautiful. You look just like your mama." His voice caught on the words, and Lisa Marie could see wetness in his eyes that he was trying to blink away. "Daddy, you're being weird," Lisa Marie said with a giggle, squirming a little under his gaze. Elvis laughed, but it sounded sad. "I know, baby. I'm sorry. I just want to look at you for a minute. Is that okay?" She nodded, unsure of what else to do. Behind Elvis, his girlfriend Ginger Alden watched with concern. She'd seen him deteriorate over 8 months, and saw something in his face now that frightened her. A look of finality. "What do you want to do today, Yisa?" Elvis asked, finally releasing her face and taking her hand. "We've got the whole day together. Just you and me." "Whatever you want," Lisa Marie thought for a moment. "Can we ride the golf carts? And can we go see the horses? And can we play the pinball machines? And can we—" Whoa! Slow down." Elvis laughed. And this time, it sounded more genuine. "We'll do all of it. I promise. We've got time." But they didn't have time. Not really. The clock was already ticking. But here's the shocking part. Elvis that afternoon felt something he hadn't allowed himself to feel in years. Fear. Not the stage fright kind or the performance anxiety kind. The deep primal fear of a man who knows his time is up. And worse, the fear of a father who desperately wants to tell his daughter something important, but can't find the words. They started with the golf carts. Graceland stretched over 14 acres, and Elvis loved racing these karts with Lisa Marie. Despite his failing health, he insisted on driving. He wanted to feel alive. Lisa Marie climbed in, her hair whipping in the wind. They zoomed past the swimming pool, past the meditation garden where Gladys was buried, down toward the back pasture. "Faster, Daddy!" Lisa Marie shrieked with delight, and Elvis laughed, a real laugh, as he pushed the cart to its limit. For a moment, he forgot everything. The pills, the pain, the loneliness. He was just a dad making his daughter laugh. But the moment didn't last. Elvis felt sharp chest pain, a warning he'd been ignoring for weeks. He slowed down, trying to catch his breath without letting Lisa Marie see his struggle. "Why are we stopping?" she asked, disappointed. I need to rest for a second, baby," Elvis said, pulling the cart under a large oak tree. He wiped sweat from his forehead. His heart was racing, his vision blurring. He knew these symptoms, but refused to admit anything was wrong. Lisa Marie looked at him with concern that was too mature for a 9-year-old. "Are you okay, Daddy?" "Yeah, baby, I'm fine. Just hot, that's all." Elvis forced a smile. "Let's go see those horses, okay?" They walked slowly to the pasture. Lisa Marie ran ahead with boundless energy, while Elvis followed at an agonizingly slow pace. Every step was effort, every breath labored. But he kept walking, because stopping meant admitting defeat. When they reached the fence, Lisa Marie was already petting Rising Sun, a beautiful palomino. "Daddy, look! He remembers me!" Elvis leaned against the fence, grateful for support. "Of course he remembers you. How could he forget the prettiest girl in Memphis?" Lisa Marie beamed. "Can we ride him?" Elvis wanted to say yes, but he didn't have the strength. "Not today, baby. How about we feed him some apples instead?" "Okay," Lisa Marie said, easily distracted. As they walked back, Elvis tried to think of what to say. How do you tell your 9-year-old you might not see her again? How do you say goodbye without scaring her? This is where everything changed. Because what happened next in the Graceland kitchen would become Lisa Marie's most treasured and most painful memory of her father. Mary Jenkins had prepared snacks: apple slices, peanut butter and banana sandwiches, chocolate chip cookies, and sweet tea. Elvis and Lisa Marie sat at the kitchen table, eating in comfortable silence as the sun sank lower, painting everything gold. "Yisa," Elvis said suddenly, setting down his sandwich, "can I tell you something important?" Lisa Marie looked up from her apple slice, sensing the shift in her father's tone. "Okay." Elvis reached across the table and took her small hand in his. His hands were shaking more noticeably now. "I want you to know that I love you more than anything in this world. More than music. More than Graceland. More than anything. You understand that, right?" "I know, Daddy," Lisa Marie said, a little confused by the intensity in his voice. "And I want you to remember something for me." "Can you do that?" She nodded. "Life is going to get hard sometimes. People are going to want things from you because of who your daddy is. They're going to expect you to be a certain way, to do certain things. And sometimes you're going to feel lonely even when you're surrounded by people." Elvis's voice cracked slightly. "But I need you to remember that you're strong. You're so much stronger than you know. And no matter what happens, no matter where I am, I'm always going to be with you. Always. You feel that?" Lisa Marie felt tears welling up in her eyes, even though she didn't fully understand why. "Daddy, why are you talking like this?" "Because I need you to know," Elvis said, and now he was crying too, tears streaming down his puffy cheeks. "I need you to know that everything I did, every song I sang, every show I performed, it was all so I could give you a better life than I had. And I'm sorry I haven't been around more. I'm sorry I've been so sick and tired. I'm sorry for a lot of things, but I've never been sorry about you. You're the best thing I ever did, Yisa. The best thing." Lisa Marie got up from her chair and climbed into her father's lap. something she was getting almost too big to do. Elvis wrapped his arms around her and held her tight, rocking her gently like he used to when she was a baby. "I love you, Daddy," she whispered into his chest. "I love you too, baby girl. So much. Don't ever forget that." They sat like that for a long time, father and daughter, while Mary Jenkins quietly wiped tears from her own eyes and busied herself at the sink. She'd worked for Elvis long enough to know what goodbye looked like. You haven't seen the biggest surprise yet, because after this moment, Elvis made a decision that would haunt everyone who loved him. He decided to pretend everything was fine. He decided to give Lisa Marie one last perfect evening, no matter what it cost him. "Okay," Elvis said, gently setting Lisa Marie back in her chair and wiping his eyes. "No more sad talk. This is your day, and we're going to have fun. What do you say we go play those pinball machines? I bet I can still beat you." Lisa Marie's face lit up. "No way. I'm way better now than last time." They spent the next 2 hours in Elvis's game room filled with arcade games, pinball machines, and a jukebox. Elvis had always loved games. They reminded him of simpler times. He'd filled Graceland with every game he could find. Lisa Marie was better at pinball now, her small hands working the flippers with skill. Elvis watched her more than he played, memorizing the way she bit her lip in concentration, the way she jumped when she scored big, the way her laugh filled the room. "This," he thought, "this is what matters. Not the sold-out shows or the millions of records. This little girl laughing. This is my real legacy. I won! I won!" Lisa Marie shouted, spinning around with her arms in the air. "You sure did," Elvis said, pulling her into a hug. "You beat the king. Don't tell nobody, though. I got a reputation to protect." Lisa Marie giggled. "Can we watch a movie now?" "Absolutely. What do you want to watch?" "The Aristocats." Elvis smiled. They'd watched it together dozens of times. He led her upstairs to his bedroom, a massive space with multiple TVs. He turned on the television while Lisa Marie climbed onto the bed. Elvis lay down next to her, and as the credits rolled, exhaustion washed over him. The chest pain had returned. His body felt like lead. He knew he should take his evening medication soon, but he wanted to finish the movie with Lisa Marie first. Wait! Don't miss this crucial detail. Halfway through the movie, Lisa Marie fell asleep against Elvis's arm, her breathing deep and peaceful, her face innocent in a way that made Elvis's heart ache. He looked down at her and thought about all the moments he'd missed. All the birthdays and school plays and bedtimes he'd sacrificed for his career. All the times he'd chosen the stage over her. And he wondered if it had been worth it. He wondered if anything had been worth missing this. He gently moved her head to a pillow and covered her with a blanket. He sat watching her sleep for a long time, trying to burn the image into his memory. Her small hands, the slight smile on her lips, the way her chest rose and fell with each breath. This was what mattered. This was everything. "I'm sorry I couldn't be better," Elvis whispered. "I tried. God knows I tried. But I got lost somewhere along the way. And now," he couldn't finish the sentence, couldn't say out loud what he felt in his bones, that this was goodbye. Eventually, Ginger came upstairs to check on them. She saw Lisa Marie asleep and Elvis sitting beside her with tears in his eyes. "Elvis?" she whispered. "You okay?" "No," he said honestly. "But I will be. I have to be. For her." But here's the truth. He wouldn't be. In less than 12 hours, Elvis Presley would take his evening medications, go to his bathroom to read, and never come back out. His heart, already damaged by years of abuse, would simply give out. Ginger would find him slumped on the bathroom floor at 2:30 p.m. on August 16, 1977. By the time the ambulance arrived, it would be too late. Lisa Marie woke around 9. Elvis insisted on making her favorite dinner: fried chicken, mashed potatoes, corn, and biscuits with honey. They ate together at the long dining table. "Are you feeling better, Daddy?" Lisa Marie asked. "Much better, baby." Being with you always makes me feel better. When can I come visit again? Elvis's fork froze. The innocent question hit him like a blow. Soon, baby. Real soon. Promise? Elvis looked at his daughter's trusting eyes. I promise I'll always be with you, he said carefully. No matter what. After dinner, Vernon Presley came to pick Lisa Marie up. Elvis walked with her to the front door, moving slowly. At the door, he knelt down. It took effort to get on one knee, and pulled Lisa Marie into one final hug. Be good for your mama, okay? He said, voice thick with emotion. Study hard, be kind, and remember what I told you. Remember that you're strong and loved and special. Okay, Daddy, Lisa Marie said, puzzled but accepting. I love you. I love you too, Yisa. So much. He kissed her head, breathing in her strawberry shampoo, trying to memorize everything. The feel of her, the sound of her voice, the warmth of her small body. When Vernon's car pulled up, Elvis walked Lisa Marie outside. The night was warm and thick with humidity. Fireflies blinked in the darkness like tiny stars, like nature's way of lighting her path away from him. Elvis helped her into the car, buckled her seatbelt with shaking hands, and stepped back. She waved through the window with that innocent smile that broke his heart. And he waved back, forcing himself to smile even though every cell in his body was screaming at him to pull her back out, to hold her, to never let her go. As the car pulled away down the long driveway, Elvis stood watching until the taillights disappeared through the gates. And then he stood longer, in the darkness, with cicadas singing their mournful song and his heart breaking into pieces he knew would never be whole again. What you're seeing now is nothing compared to what happened next. Elvis went upstairs and pulled a small wooden box from his closet. Inside were letters he'd written to Lisa Marie over the years, but never sent. Letters full of things he couldn't say out loud. He sat at his desk and pulled out one more piece of paper. His hand shook as he wrote, My dearest Yisa, if you're reading this, then I'm gone. And I'm so sorry, baby girl. I'm sorry I couldn't be the father you deserved. I'm sorry I was always too tired or too sick or too messed up to be there the way I wanted to be. But I need you to know something. Every moment with you was a gift. Every laugh, every hug, every time you called me Daddy. Those were the moments that made everything else worth it. You saved me in ways you'll never understand. Be strong, my little girl. Be brave. Don't let anybody tell you who you have to be. You're a Presley, and that means you've got lightning in your blood and music in your soul. But more than that, you're Lisa Marie. You're kind and smart and beautiful and fierce. Don't let the world change that. I'll be watching over you. Always. From wherever I am. And when you need me, just close your eyes and remember, I'm there. In every song you hear, that makes you think of me. In every warm summer night. In every moment when you feel loved, I'm there. I love you more than all the stars in the sky. Forever and always. Daddy. Elvis folded the letter and put it in the envelope. He wrote Lisa Marie on the front and placed it in the wooden box with all the others. Then he put the box back in the closet where, years later, Lisa Marie would find it. He took his evening medications, too many pills, dangerous combinations. But Elvis didn't care. He just wanted to sleep. Ginger was in bed when Elvis lay down. How was today? She asked. Perfect, Elvis said, and he meant it. It was perfect. You won't believe this, but around midnight, Elvis got up to use the bathroom. He took his book and told Ginger he'd be right back. She heard him moving around. Then everything went quiet. Too quiet. When she woke hours later and found him on the bathroom floor, lifeless, she screamed. Staff came running. Ambulances were called. But Elvis Presley was already gone. At 3:30 p.m. on August 16, 1977, Elvis was pronounced dead at Baptist Memorial Hospital. Cardiac arrhythmia, though the truth was more complicated. Heart disease, drug abuse, and a body that had given up. The world mourned. Thousands descended on Graceland. Radio stations played his music nonstop. President Carter issued a statement. But in Los Angeles, 9-year-old Lisa Marie didn't understand why everyone was crying. She didn't understand why her mother was explaining Daddy was in heaven now. But he promised, she kept saying through her tears. He promised he'd always be with me. He said always. He will be, baby, Priscilla said, holding her daughter as they both cried. He will be. He's watching over you right now. Hold on. This is when it gets real. Years later, as an adult, Lisa Marie would talk about that last day in interviews. She'd say she felt something was different, that Elvis was trying to say goodbye without saying it. She'd talk about carrying guilt for years, guilt that she didn't understand what was happening, guilt that she didn't say more, guilt that she was just a kid who wanted to play games instead of having one last real conversation with her dying father. She'd struggle with her own demons, addiction, failed marriages, the crushing weight of being Elvis's daughter in a world that never let her forget it. She'd make music, trying to forge an identity separate from her father's shadow while simultaneously being forever defined by it. She'd fight to protect his legacy, taking on anyone who tried to diminish or exploit his memory. And every year on August 15th, she'd think about that last day. The golf carts, the horses, the pinball machines, the final hug, the promises, the love that was always there. The wooden box of letters, when she found it years later, broke her heart again. In those letters, she saw the father she'd been looking for her whole life. The man behind the king. The dad who loved her desperately, but didn't know how to show it when he was alive. The human being who was drowning in fame and pills and loneliness, but still trying so hard to give her something to hold on to. She'd read the last letter, the one he wrote the night before he died, over and over until the paper wore thin from her fingers. I'll be watching over you. Always. And sometimes, in quiet moments alone, she'd close her eyes and swear she could feel him there. In the warmth of a Memphis summer, in the opening notes of Can't Help Falling in Love on the radio, in the strength she found when she thought she had none left. Because Elvis was right. He is always with her, in every strong decision she makes, in every time she stands up for herself and others, in every moment when she chooses love over fear, hope over despair. He's there, not the king of rock and roll, not the icon plastered on posters, just Daddy. Just the man who held her too tight on August 15th because he knew he'd never hold her again. That's the legacy of August 15th, 1977. Not the pills or pain or tragic ending that came the next day, but a father's love trying desperately to give his daughter enough strength to survive his absence. The love of a man who knew his time was running out and used every last moment to fill his little girl's heart with everything she'd need for the years ahead. Lisa Marie lived 45 more years. After her father's death, passing away on January 12, 2023, in those years, she carried her father everywhere she went. She protected his memory fiercely. She fought for his dignity against those who tried to reduce him to a punchline or a cautionary tale. She made sure the world knew that Elvis Presley wasn't just a celebrity who died on a bathroom floor. He was a father who loved his daughter more than life itself, who gave her everything he could in the time he had. In her final years, when people asked her about her father, she'd always come back to that last day, to the way he held her a little too tight, the way he looked at her a little too long, the way he told her she was strong and loved and special. He was saying goodbye, she'd say, her voice soft with memory and grief that never quite healed. I didn't know it then, but he was giving me everything I'd need to survive losing him. That last day wasn't just father and daughter spending time together. It was a man pouring every ounce of love he had left into the heart of the little girl who would have to learn to live without him. It was Elvis Presley's final performance, Not on a stage in Las Vegas for thousands of screaming fans, but in the quiet moments at Graceland for an audience of one. The only audience that ever really mattered. The only performance that truly counted. And if you listen closely, really listen, you can still hear him whispering to her across time and death, and everything that tried to separate them. I'm here. Yisa, I'm always here. I'm in every song that makes you cry. I'm in every moment of strength. I'm in every choice you make to love instead of fear. Don't you ever forget that. Because some loves are stronger than death. Some bonds can't be broken by time or distance or even the grave itself. And the love between Elvis and Lisa Marie, forged in those final precious hours on August 15, 1977, is proof that a single day can hold enough love to last not just a lifetime, but an eternity. That's the story of Elvis and Lisa Marie's last day together. The day the king gave his daughter a kingdom of memories strong enough to survive his absence. The day a father's love became eternal. And somewhere, in whatever comes after, Elvis Presley is still watching over his little girl, still keeping his promise, still loving her with everything he was. Always. Yisa, always. Which city are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments below. Now we want to hear from you. Have you ever had to say goodbye to someone without knowing it was the last time? What would you tell someone you love if you knew you only had 24 hours left? How do you think children process grief differently than adults? Share your stories and thoughts in the comments. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more untold stories of Elvis Presley, the human side of legends and the moments that prove love transcends everything. Hit the notification bell so you never miss our next story about the King of Rock and Roll.